back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys! So I'm here today to talk to you about some really exciting anticipated releases that I have. I have been watching quite a few anticipated releases videos and I love them. I love this time of year where everyone gets super excited about the upcoming releases and we all just tell each other what we want to buy and tell each other what to look out for. It's just so much fun and I really enjoy it. But I have a lot of anticipated releases, and when I say a lot, I mean I have literally almost 50 books that I'm super excited about. A lot of them are in series, but there are some which are debuts, others which just sound like they'd be fun. So I'm definitely excited this year. I think this coming year is going to be a really good year for fantasy. I just have this vibe that a lot of things are going to be coming out. I'm sure there will be other things that I've missed off this list. The way I've done this is I've divided it up kind of month by month-ish. I've got quite a lot, so I've done about 10 or 11 books in each of the videos, and I think I'm going to have about 4 or 5 videos for anticipated releases. So I'm going to divide it up like that. This is part 1, which is the January and February books for 2019 that I'm super excited about. Most of them will be science fiction and fantasy. I think I'll just get started, no more preamble needed. I am telling you guys the release date in the UK according to Amazon. So if that's not correct or subject to change, it's Amazon's fault, not mine. But let's get started. I'm going to tell you guys the most exciting books in January and February to me. And the first one of those that I want to talk about is A Cathedral of Myth and Bone, which is by Kat Howard. Now, I read a previous book by Kat Howard in 2018 and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic read and so original and out there. So this is a collection of short stories by Kat Howard. The cover, as I'm sure you'll agree, is absolutely stunning. This one comes out on the 8th of January and I'm super excited. I definitely plan to pick this up. It sounds like there are 16 stories in the collection and each one of them kind of has a slightly gothic inspiration, definitely got fantasy vibes going on, so I'm keen to get to this soon. The next one I want to pick up is by Django Wexler. This is the first in a new series, I believe, and it is called Ship of Smoke and Steel. This one comes out on the 22nd of January, and personally I've only read one of Django Wexler's books, but I really enjoyed it and I always intended to go back to his previous series, which started off with The Thousand Names, but I never really got round to it, so I'm hopeful that maybe with this new series I can jump back into his work and actually get completely hooked into it and finish up this series and then probably go back and finish up the other series. So in this story we're following a kind of debt collector who is called Ahsoka, and she is 18 years old. She has a sister and she has a secret power as well. This secret power is one she probably should have declared to His Imperial Majesty, but she didn't, and then she gets found out and she is ordered that in order to not reveal her secret and not forfeit her sister's life, she needs to go and find a ghost ship. So it sounds like a pretty interesting concept. I love the idea of a ghost ship. I love ships in general and sort of sailing on the high seas, and I love sword and sorcery stuff. So I think this could be a combination of all of those things, and I'm really excited to give this a go. The next book I want to talk about comes out on the 24th of January in the UK, and that is The Hod King. This is by Josiah Bancroft. It is the third one in the Books of Babel series, which started off with Senlin Ascends. I have in fact already read this and completely loved it. I love the series in general. It's very bizarre. It's quite different to a lot of series out there because it focuses on a tower, as you can see, and we have a main character who in the first book gets separated from his wife. She ends up sort of somewhere in the tower. The tower itself is divided into ringdoms and levels, and each level is completely different and wacky, and our main character Senlin is trying to reconnect with his wife and sort of go through these levels and understand, or try and understand, the bizarre peculiarities of each of the different ringdoms. So it's really interesting. Love the story, love the writing, highly recommend this one in particular, and this one comes out on the 24th of January. So certainly if you are reading the other books in the series, you should pick this up. If you haven't started it yet, start with Senlin very soon. The next one I want to talk about is another one I was kindly sent to review, and that is this one, Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. I have since finished this, and again, it's quite a weird one. This is a self-published book. It follows a young boy called Ian, and he is in a land which is very inspired by Asian culture. He has been employed by a Shiganami, who is sort of a god of death, in order to go around the land and recruit heroes to defeat the corrupt and evil emperor. So all of these heroes that you can see on the front are recruited by our young boy Ian, and they have to go and kill the Emperor. They are bound to him, magically brought back from the dead. There's a lot of Asian-inspired culture in this book, and it's quite a quick read. It's very fast-paced and easy to get into, so certainly one I think a lot of you would enjoy, especially if you like those kind of elements. It does have a unique writing style, I feel like, and a unique plot. So again, I recommend this one, and it comes out on the 29th of January. Next up, I have the last one that is coming out in January that I know of, and this is Vigilance by Robert Jackson Bennett. I read Foundry Side by him a little while ago and really enjoyed it, so I thought I should try out some of his other work, and as this is a new one being released, it sounded like a good one to go for next. This book sounds pretty relevant because it is set in the year 2030, and it follows a society of America where gun violence has become very prevalent everywhere. It is a problem on a massive scale. There is a game which is introduced in the story called Vigilance, and this game is a game where people own guns and they have to be extra vigilant to look out for enemies. The people who are playing are entered into the arena, the game environment, and once they are there, the winner will earn a cash prize. I think this is going to be one of the Tor.com novellas. It's estimated to be around 200 pages, so it's fairly short, but it sounds like a really relevant topic and an idea that I'm definitely intrigued about. Next up, we are moving on to some February releases in the UK, although I think this book actually comes out in January in the US and other places, and that is In Absent Dream by Sean-Anne Maguire. This, I think, is the fourth book in the Wayward Children series, and I really enjoyed the previous ones. I've loved all of them. This cover is beautiful as always, and this story focuses on children who have kind of come back from other worlds. They've gone through portals and they've come back and they can't really adjust to our world again. So we follow them as they explore either what happened to them in the other world or how they're kind of adapting back to life in our world. It's really fascinating. All of the stories of the children are really interesting, and so far I've loved them all. So again, really recommend this. I believe it comes out on the 1st of February in the UK, but I think it comes out in January in other places. The next book I'm super excited about is one by a female fantasy author. This is called The Ruin of Kings, and it is by Jenny Leon. This book is one that caught my eye from the cover, but then the plot sounded very interesting and quite different to a lot of fantasy. It's following a young bastard orphan called Kirin, who is obsessed with storytelling and fantasy. He loves reading the old stories about gods and monsters and mythology, but actually when it comes down to it, he realises that the stories he was told are perhaps not really very accurate and reflective of humanity and heroes. Kirin is claimed as a long-lost son of a prince, and he actually ends up sort of captured and ensnared by his long-lost family. He finds it is not all sunshine and rainbows. In fact, he is a prisoner, and he starts to doubt all the stories he's heard before. He's wondering what it is really like to be a hero, but maybe then again he's not supposed to be the hero of this world. Maybe instead he is supposed to destroy it. The next book I want to talk about is one I've been sent by the author, but I haven't yet read it, and that is this one, Sword of the Kaigan. This book is one I'm definitely excited to read. It sounds like it's going to be a good old kind of really fun epic fantasy. It follows a sort of spit of land which is called the Sword of Kaigan, and this spit of land is on the very edge of the Empire. The people who are there are the most ferocious fighters in the land, and they defend the Empire from the Empire's enemies. We follow a 14-year-old called Mamoru, and he is training to become a fighter, but he quickly learns that actually the alleged peace of his land is maybe not quite as peaceful as he was led to believe, and he's going to have to grow up quicker than anticipated. And then we have Misaki, who married into another family, and she thought she'd left her sort of sword training days behind her, but with a young son who keeps asking her questions and with a threat looming on the edge of their civilization, she believes the sword might once again be calling to her. So it sounds like it's going to be fun. It's a big old chunky book, this one, but I'm really excited to read it, and this one comes out on the 19th of February. The next book I have to talk about is actually an anthology, and this is one I'm super excited about. It's a collection that was edited and translated by Ken Liu, who is one of my all-time favourite authors, and it is a collection of Chinese science fiction which has been translated into English mostly for the first time, I think, and collected together into this anthology. There are also some essays within there, but I think most of them are sort of short stories or novella length. There are quite a lot of stories in the collection, including stories by Cixin Liu and also Hao Jingfang and other Chinese writers who are starting to get a little bit more notoriety over in the West. So I'm very excited to read more of this, and I think it's a great way to introduce yourself to Chinese science fiction, which is quite different from UK or Western science fiction, just in terms of the themes and the ideas. It's definitely got different quirks that are uniquely Asian inspired, and I think that's great, so I'm really, really keen to pick this one up. Next up, I have a sequel to a book that I read, I think in 2018, and this is The Kingdom of Copper, which is by S.A. Chakraborty. I read the first one in this series last year, and I really enjoyed it actually. It was a surprising read for me because I wasn't really aware of it until I was doing BookTube SFF, and I found out about it and thought it sounded great. So I read it, and of course I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun YA read, kind of set in a desert setting. There are genies or djinns, and they have magical powers, and we follow different characters. One is a prince and one is a young girl who has some sort of power of her own, and their stories of course come together and mix up as the story goes on. And I really enjoyed the first one. It was a lot of fun. I listened to the audio, so I might end up getting this on audio as well. And this one comes out on the 21st of February. And the final book I want to talk about is probably one you've seen on other people's channels because it seems to be very hyped up at the moment, so I hope it's good. This is Black Leopard Red Wolf by Marlon James. I believe Marlon James has written literary themed books previously, and he's got a lot of acclaim in the literary world, but personally I don't tend to find I enjoy literary writing styles that much, so I'm interested to see what he does with a fantasy setting. I believe in this one we're following a man called Tracker who is known for his hunting ability throughout the whole world. He has always worked alone, and he's never broken that rule until he is tasked with hunting down a boy, and he meets up with a band of other hodgepodge travellers who are also hunting the boy, including a man-leopard shifting thing. So it sounds pretty interesting, and I hope that, I don't know, I hope the literary writing style that he's known for isn't the only thing he focuses on in fantasy, because I think with fantasy you have to do a lot more world building and character building in order to really get your audience to engage. So I'm intrigued to see what he does and how he does it. The cover for this one is absolutely stunning, so I'm definitely planning to get a copy of it soon, and hopefully I will read it and let you guys know what I think, but I'm intrigued. So that is all of the books I have for January to February time. I'm going to have loads more videos on this, so do look out for them coming very soon. Let me know in the comments which of these you're most excited about, whether I've missed anything in January and February that you're looking forward to, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.